What's going on, guys? CGG Matt back. You read the title. Today we're talking about, are these NBA playoff series already over? This is not a new concept. I did not come up with this. I'm not the big brain behind this idea. I'm probably piggybacking off some other people who've already done it, but I still want to do it. We're 4 games in at minimum for every playoff series now, except for Indiana-Milwaukee, which is happening at the time of recording, if you want a time reference. My bad, said preference. I'm an idiot. I just watched Dame limp off the court. So, I mean, that might give you a hint as to what my answer is when I talk about that playoff series. But we're going to start off with the ones that are quite literally over and or on the doorstep of over. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you're new around here. Simple stuff. The one that is quite literally over is Thunder versus Grizzlies. At one point, the Grizzlies looked like they had a chance to win a game. John Morant went down. They lost the game. It's pretty straightforward stuff there. Shai hasn't even looked particularly dominant in this series. He's just kind of looked fine. And J-Dub's been fantastic. Chet's been fantastic. Realistically, OKC's gotten contributions from everybody. Alex Caruso had a couple of lockdown possessions. One on Jaren. He had one where I think he ripped, who was it? I think it was Bane. Yeah, it was Bane. Caruso's been unreal defensively. Dort's been unreal defensively. The Thunder have just looked unreal defensively. But I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm some expert and I've watched every game this series. I actually didn't watch Game 4. You go up 3-0, you don't lose the series. That's just kind of how the NBA works. So I didn't even bother tuning in. Plus, I was at work anyways. But obviously, looking at the box score, you see what I see here. Oklahoma City got absolutely blown out in the rebound category and was still able to win this game. And they may lose the rebound battle, but at the end of the day, they win the important one, which is they don't turn the ball over and they make you turn the ball over. They've been doing that all season. They have these guys who are excellent defenders. As I just mentioned, Caruso, Dort, Cason Wallace, J-Dub, even Shai gets in that stance. I love when a team's best player and potentially MVP, probably my MVP at least, gets in that stance and puts forward the defensive effort necessary to win games. Shai has looked sharp defensively. Chet at the rim has looked like a freaking unstoppable monster. But this playoff series is literally over, so we can move on to the other one, which is basically over. That's Cavs versus Heat. The time of recording, they play tomorrow, Monday, and I'm going to be real, there's baseball on. I'll probably go watch some baseball. That series, the Goose is cooked. All but like one quarter this series, the Cavs have looked like the better team. It's looked like an absolute mismatch, besides the Davion Mitchell quarter, in which it still turned out to be the Donovan Mitchell quarter. D. Mitchell was absolutely cooking in that fourth quarter. But otherwise than that, they've looked like the 1 seed that we've been advertised all season. I mean, they beat the you-know-what out of Miami a majority of this series. Miami's put up good fights, and Tyler Hero has been a kind of a good offensive player. But you hear stuff like Darius Garland said, we are attacking Tyler Hero. That's great. Darius Garland, just have some self-reflection when you realize that the other team does it with you too. But overall, the Cleveland Cavaliers still looked as dominant as ever, and congratulations, Evan Mobley, on your Defensive Player of the Year award. I really thought they were going to snake that and give it to Draymond on him. I was really worried about that because Evan Mobley has been so good defensively this season, and I was kind of worried he was going to get robbed, all things considered, because of the media narratives and the push. But thankfully, the media and the voters decided to still rightfully give it to Evan Mobley in my eyes. He is an incredible defender. Just overall has had a very good series. Even offensively, he's looked pretty impactful. Also, a Game 3 callback. It's just incredible that this team was able to swing their way into DeAndre Hunter at midseason. The guy is incredible, quite frankly. He'd be a starter on a majority of NBA teams. But he just so happened to join one of the most stacked ones in the NBA. Chris Haynes just tweeted about Dame's injury. Left Achilles tear. Okay. That's unfortunate. To finish up my discussion about the Cavs versus Heat series, just the Cavaliers have looked dominant, and now you just get to sit back and wait for your second round opponent, which is guaranteed going to give you at least one more game after the one that's being played today. You just got to close out Game 4, and I know they might not close out Game 4 because Game 3 was kind of a close one, but I still really do believe in their ability to close out Game 4. The Heat just don't have the scoring facilities that the Cavs do. The Cavs got like 7 guys they could turn to for a bucket. Jared Allen, I think, was their leading scorer in Game 3. Jared Allen, who, by the way, at the beginning of the playoff run, I said was an X factor for them, because when he's aggressive and getting looks offensively, their team looks so much better, in my opinion. When Jared Allen's got 8 points, 8 rebounds, it's like, why is he even there at times, you know? But when he's active, he's engaged, and the guards are getting him the ball, he looks good in some aspects. In some games, it's really a game-to-game basis for Jared Allen, whether you're going to get 20 and 10 or 10 and 10, you know, maybe even an 8 and 8. If you're the Heat, though, you kind of got to feel pretty good, though. Like, you've put up good fights, even though there's a good chance you end up getting swept. Both these 8 seeds that I've been talking about have completely different off seasons ahead of them. I would like to do a Grizzlies off season style, like what should they do type of thing, because they're in a really interesting spot right now where they have an interesting mix of young talent that's like good but not great, and then a mix of vets that are productive, but they don't have a true top line talent. They don't have like I don't think they have a top 10 player in basketball. It's hard to win without that top line talent, especially when although they have some guys who put up big games. Scottie Pippen Jr. had a great couple of game stretch, Game 3 in particular. I just don't see the depth on this team. I don't see the overall talent level on this team. They look good through portions of the season. When Morant misses time, the team tails off. Jaren is a fantastic player. As much as I love him, he still has flaws in his game. He doesn't rebound like I'd like. He definitely isn't offensively aggressive. He doesn't use his size enough. Like I said, Alex Caruso had a couple of great defensive possessions on Jaren Jackson, and I know Alex Caruso is an amazing defender. He might make an all-defensive team. I don't know if he has the game limit, but you're almost 7 foot. Use that, maybe. All right, now that I've covered the dead series, let's move on to the 2-7s. In the 2-7s, we'll talk about Celtics versus Magic, which just ended at the time of recording. Another incredible game, dude. Another one where it was like, there was some moments where the Magic could have taken the reins of this game, but again, it's another team without the offensive facilities to score. There was a moment in this game, maybe 8 minutes left or so in the game, when Franz Wagner, for no reason at all, it might have been a tie game or they were down 2. I can't remember the exact moment. I'll see if I can pull it up. Where Franz Wagner took the ball down the court after an inbound pass and took like a step back 3 with over 15 seconds left. The guy who has, I don't even know, a hitch, it's like his elbow tweaks when he shoots. Disgusting. Why are you taking that shot? My key to this series at the beginning was how are the Magic going to be able to clean up the 3-point differential that the Celtics are going to leave them in. Overall, they've been able to manage the Celtics' 3-point attempts, don't get me wrong. But again, the key for the Orlando Magic is the fact that they can't hit a damn free throw. At one point in this game, they were like 11 of 17 at the line. They finished 14 of 20, which rounds out relatively well. But if you watch the game, multiple times in this game where it was like, if the Magic could buy a free throw, they'd be in the lead. They were down like 2 points and had missed 5 free throws. And that's just inexcusable. But at the same time, when you have, you have do-nothings. There's a couple of do-nothings on the Magic. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is a do-nothing. He's a cardio guy. A Kentankle monitor. Gary Harris, what does he do? I don't know. I don't know what Gary Harris does. He was getting bagged by Tatum. He was getting bagged by Brown. He had 4 fouls. He didn't do anything. Caleb Houston was a guy they subbed into the game and said that he's their plus shooter. Can't hit a jumper. Hasn't hit one this series, I don't believe. Anthony Black was a minus 16, but I feel like that's kind of BS. He actually felt like he was better than that. But their inability to make any shots, except for Paolo and Franz, is definitely troubling. Especially when Paolo and Franz combined for 4 of 13 from beyond the arc. Today was the Corey Joe game, in my opinion. He was fantastic. He had a mid-range jumper, or 2. I think he had 2 mid-range jumpers and a couple of threes as well. Corey Joe definitely played a big part for them, and people were clowning on them for starting Corey Joe in a playoff game, don't get me wrong, but he at times provides what they need, and that's a guard who can pass the ball a little bit, as well as knock down his open shots. It's really a luxury to have one singular guy on this Magic team that can hit a 3. When you have guys like KCP, Gary Harris, Anthony Black can't shoot, Franz Wagner can't shoot, Wendell Carter can't shoot. You know, there's so many guys on this team that can't shoot. John Isaac, Oh my God. It's just absolutely brutal to watch their offense at times. And Paolo and Franz definitely do their best. But I guess this is a lesson to front offices, guys like KCP and gravity shooters who played with Jokic, LeBron types, those guys that rely on other stars' gravity to get themselves open looks. You know, it doesn't always work out. KCP's contract with Orlando has not worked out at all. I mean, he was scuffling with Tatum at the end of the game. I mean, I don't know. KCP he's been bad this whole series. I think he has like 17 points and 13 fouls. I think my overall takeaway from today's game, Celtics versus Magic, was that the Celtics did what they needed to do in the rebounding category. In Game 3, they were getting killed on the glass. In Game 3, there was a specific moment where Wendell Carter quite literally tossed Luke Cornett to the floor. And I'm not the type of guy to say that that's an illegal play or whatnot, because if the refs don't call it, it's a legal play, buddy. But Luke Cornett's got to be a little bit stronger if he doesn't want to get thrown on the damn floor. But Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum crashed the glass very well today. They helped win the rebounding battle. Al Horford was an unsung hero in this game, had a nice block on Corey Joseph. A block by James moment on Corey Joseph. He did have a goofy over the line on an inbound technical. Hilarious. You barely see that in the NBA, but he was very much so over the line. And when they called it, I was like, what is it with these BS calls in this game? And then they showed the replay, and he was like 2 feet over the line, and I was like, all right, he has no spatial awareness. But overall, the Magic just don't have the offense. They go on these, it's not that the Celtics go on these scoring spurts where they're just putting up, 15-0 run in the last 3 minutes. It becomes extended runs where the Magic have scored 4 points in 6 minutes. And it's like, where'd the offense go? They can find it at times when it's Paolo and Franz putting shots in. But for the most part, once the ball's out of their hands, the Celtics have kind of won the possession. I mean, there was multiple times in this game where even if Franz Wagner was taking a three, I was like, yeah, the Celtics have won that possession. But it's hard, man. They don't have any offensive capabilities outside of those two players. But this is a team that has two guys who are important to their rotation that aren't playing right now in Suggs and Wagner. I'm not a Mo Wagner guy myself. I will be I will admit that to the world. I am not a Mo Wagner guy. I don't call many players dirty, but I view Mo Wagner as a dirty player. Jalen Suggs, though, on the other hand, a terrific guard for them who can actually hit a three, so that helps. But when they don't have the scoring facilities and you don't have anybody to turn to, as much as I love Goga Bitadze, giving Goga Bitadze minutes isn't going to help them score the damn ball. They just don't have many guys they can reach to on the bench and be like, hey, this guy's a spark scorer. Cole Anthony's supposed to be that guy, but when the Celtics are playing Cole Anthony off the floor, I mean, what'd he play? It felt like he played 5 minutes today. I remember him subbing in. He picked up 2 fouls in like 5 possessions, and he was back out of the game. There's nothing Cole Anthony can do in this series because the Celtics play killer basketball. What do they call it? Killer whale basketball or whatever, where they pick out the weakest link in the defense, and they're like, all right, go get him. Tatum, Brown, just run at Cole Anthony. He's not going to be able to defend you. So it's one of those things where the Magic just need a scoring punch from a guy who's not an absolute void on defense, I guess. It's kind of a tough ask. Is the Magic versus Celtics series over? I could still see the Magic taking that game in Boston, Game 5. I still could see it because the Celtics haven't been as dominant as they usually are at home overall. And although they won the 2 at home, they didn't look particularly dominant at home, even though they did kind of put the Magic in the rear view. And it didn't come down to the wire. They didn't look as dominant in those games as you'd like, but at the same time, I still think the Magic are capable of winning a game in TD Garden. But I'd say there's like a 90% chance that the Celtics are going to win this series. 2-7 in the West, Rockets versus Warriors. Is that series over? Nah, man. The series is actually reckless, if I'm being honest with you. Jimmy Butler's coming back, and the Warriors just took a nice little lead in the series. Sometimes you really just can't help it if Steph Curry's got it going. That's really how it is. It's helpless. I know. You guys know I'm a Celtics fan. I know what it's like when Steph Curry's got it going in the playoffs, and your team can't stop him. And it's just a helpless feeling. And that's what Game 3 was. It was Steph Curry, avalanche in the third and fourth quarter, it felt like. And there just wasn't a damn thing that the Rockets could do. They sent like 6 different guys at him. I mean, Amen was trying his best. Dylan was trying his best. Tari Eason had a couple offensive possessions where I was like, this guy's kind of brutal today. But the Rockets are similar to the Orlando Magic in the sense where I sometimes wonder if they even have the scoring punch. And that was my biggest question coming into the series was, is Jalen Green and Fred VanVleet enough scoring to help them get over the Warriors? I didn't think so, simply because Fred VanVleet's a shorter guard. He's a streaky shooter because he relies on a lot of tough shots. We saw that his All-Star year, I believe, was that in Toronto in 2022 or 23. He had a really good first half, and then in the second half, all the tough shots he took really stopped falling, and he was struggling. I remember people questioning his All-Star appearance because of that. It's because he takes a lot of tough shots. He's a small guard. It's not Peyton Pritchard-esque, but it's close to that, where it's like, hey, this guy's small, not really that big, and he's definitely not great at defense, but if he could score and get it going, he can really help your offense. But if not, that backcourt of him and Jalen Green, when they aren't scoring, is hideous to watch, man. Jalen Green is not scoring the ball at all this series. He had a really good game, too. But overall, Game 3, man, he was really bad. And I'm struggling to see what he can do better because this is just who Jalen Green is. You get the peaks, you get the valleys, but there's no plains in sight. There's not a single flat where it's like, oh, here's a consistent, 18 a game Jalen Green, 20 a game Jalen Green. You're either going to get 36 or you're going to get 3 to 6. There's really no difference. He had 9. I know someone's going to be like, he didn't have 3 to 6 here. He had 9. He was awful. I'm not a Draymond Green guy either, but the fact that Jalen Green is trying to talk about Draymond like if he's not scoring, he's not doing anything, while sometimes that's true, Draymond is very reliant on his defense, and if their defense is getting cooked, what's Draymond doing? But at the same time, he at least plays great defense. Jalen Green, if you aren't scoring, what are you doing? That's the real question. He said if Draymond can't score, what's he doing? What is Jalen Green doing if he can't score? Draymond will still impact the game defensively with his passing, and he's a decent rebounder as well. When Jalen Green's shot isn't there, what did he put up for stats other than scoring yesterday? 5 assists, 6 rebounds. Draymond had 7 points, 4 assists, 8 rebounds, 3 blocks, and 2 steals as well. Again, I get it, Jalen Green. Your goal is to score the ball, but when that shit isn't dropping, what do you provide to an NBA team? Jalen Green's another one of those guys where the bag work looks beautiful. The bag looks beautiful. All those tough layups where he's going up and under, scoop layup, it's tough. But you need a go-to type, I don't even know what to call it. You need a way to get easy offense. Not a signature shot, but something of the sort. Every player in the NBA has a way that they can kind of get themselves into the flow of the game if they're inefficient or their shot's not falling. And a lot of the times that's get to the free throw line. Jalen Green doesn't do that either because he doesn't really go into contact very often. He's so athletic, he often just skates around contact just for the sake of getting an easier look. But if you're skating around contact and blowing the layup, again. Yesterday in particular, though, was a Warriors bench game. The Warriors bench has been in and out. It's Buddy Hield is a lot of their bench scoring is Buddy Hield. And when Buddy Hield can't shoot, Buddy Hield is off the court. But Gary Payton had a good offensive game. Buddy Hield had a good offensive game. So when their bench is going and Steph Curry's going, they're really hard to stop. And when the ball is moving around like it was, it doesn't stick with them a lot at times. Brendan Pajemski hit a couple of nice shots, too. Pretty sure I saw Moses Moody hit a nice relocate 3 in the corner. Overall, the Warriors bench came to play with Steph Curry yesterday, even without, Jimmy Butler being there, and that presence of having a real secondary scorer. But overall, when the bench is hitting like they were yesterday, I don't know what the Rockets can do. Again, because the Warriors have the ability to guard the Rockets. I don't know if anyone has the ability to guard Steph Curry in Houston. As much as I want to believe that Amen Thompson can do it or Dylan Brooks can do it, maybe. I mean, Steph is one of those guys where, again, we talk about his gravity all the time. Even if he's not scoring 30, he's still dragging a defender 30 feet from the basket. Overall, I think a lot of Rockets fans are having flashbacks because Steph Curry, I think the ESPN showed a stat last night that he has like the most 30-point games against the Rockets of any player ever or something like that. 30-point playoff games against the Rockets. It was an obscene stat. But again, I don't think that the Rockets have the scoring ability. Hold on, I have to give flowers to Jabari Smith. Before the series, I was a big Jabari fan regardless. But even more so now that I've seen it in a playoff series where he's looked like a very productive offensive player, which has been a big knock on his game, is that offensively he's in and out and in and out and in and out. He has looked consistently good this series, and I have to tip my cap. I know a Warriors fan might not want to, but I'm going to. Jabari Smith has been fantastic, and I'm proud of him. Dillon Brooks has looked very good this series, even though he's fouling a ton. That's Dillon Brooks. You're going to get fouls, but he has looked fantastic. The main suspects, when I look around and say, why are the Rockets losing this series? The main suspects I'm looking at is the starting backcourt. That's all that I really have to say. Jimmy Butler is going to be back for game 4, so would I say this series is over? If I'm being real, I'm going to have to say yes. I really think that the Warriors just kind of got the Rockets. The Rockets keep winning the rebounding battle, which is like what they want to do. But what they shoot on threes yesterday, they almost shot 40% from 3, and they still lost the damn game. And in all reality, it was close right up until like late in the fourth quarter, when again, you're helpless when Steph gets it going like that. I want to make sure they did win the rebounding battle. Yeah, total it was 51-45. Offensive rebounds, the Rockets had 5 more than the Warriors did in offensive rebounds. That's what the Rockets want to do. Oh, there's also the other thing. I guess I didn't notice this watching the game very much last night. I was driving during a portion of the game, but 10 missed free throws. 10? 1 of 6 from the free throw line for Sengun. Wow. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. You miss 10 free throws, you probably shouldn't anticipate winning that game, especially when Jalen Green got 0 free throws. Oh, my God. When Steven Adams is shooting a better percent from the line than Alperen Sengun, what are we doing here? You know, free throws, man. Free throws are an absolute killer to all momentum in an NBA game because you make a free throw, the second free throw specifically, you make the second free throw, you can get back and set up your defense. You miss that second free throw, it's almost a fast break at times, and it's much harder to set up, you know? So free throws, man, absolute killer. But I don't know what the Rockets can really do, especially when Jimmy Butler is probably, I'd assume, coming back for game 4. And now they're still at Chase Center. Jimmy Butler back. I'm not seeing it, I'm not seeing it, if I'm being honest. I just don't see it. I'm probably going to take the Warriors just like I did before the series. 3-6s. We could talk 3-6s. Knicks versus Pistons. Yeah, I'd say that one's over after today's game. Was it a foul in the corner? Yeah, I mean, John Goble. Was it John Goble? I'm pretty sure. John Goble, I believe it was, literally confirmed it post-game that it was a foul in the corner. But overall, I think the Knicks played good enough basketball. Now, Towns was incredible late, especially when Brunson left the game. When Brunson left that game for that brief period, I was like, oh, here comes the Pistons. They're going to come bury him. And Cat hit a couple of big threes that were like, that kept them alive. And when Brunson came back in, pendulum of momentum just swung right to the Knicks. That boy Brunson hit it like between the legs into a sidestep to the left 3 from the left wing. Absolutely nasty shot, man. I also think the pendulum of momentum swung when Tobias Harris had to check out with his 5th foul because he was playing crazy good defense on Towns. But once Harris was forced to the bench, Towns really started to pick it up and really started to play a lot better. I have to give Tobias Harris a lot of credit because he's had a pretty good playoff a couple of games here for Detroit, and he's kind of saved them at some points. You know, he's been their offense when needed. Dennis Schroeder hit a nice little mid-range from the free throw line today. But overall, I still think that this series is over in the grand scheme of things as well. I felt absolutely disgusting when I did my playoff predictions, and I said that there's a good chance that the Knicks just get a better whistle than the Pistons do. And the end of today comes down to the Pistons not getting a whistle late. And yeah, I don't want to be that guy, but I think we all kind of knew. But overall, the Pistons had multiple opportunities to shut that game, to turn it off, to basically to kill it, and they just couldn't do it. They just could not do it today. And when you leave the door open for a team, especially when they lose their best player for a portion of the game, again, that's another one where it's like you have to grab it. When their best player, Jalen Brunson, is out, you have to defend Towns better. You have to go on at least a 7-0 run, Get yourself some leeway, so that way if he does come back, he has to march them back from down a good amount. Instead, what happened was that Towns kept it even. Karl-Anthony Towns played spectacularly today. Cade had some bad turnovers, but overall, the Pistons just look like exactly what I said, a team that doesn't have the offensive capabilities to compete with the Knicks. While Cade Cunningham, I've been propping him up all season. Go back and watch my first Ringer Top 100 reaction of the season. He was below Halliburton. He was below a ton of guys, and I said Cade Cunningham is a top 20 player in basketball. And again, he's played fantastic, but he has had some bad turnovers. But at the same time, he's a guy playing with minimal help. Dennis Schroeder is the second best ball handler on that roster right now. Second best. Ausar Thompson got up a 3 in the corner. Tobias Harris, again, has looked very good in the time that he's been on the court. But overall, you can't rely on Tobias Harris to be there consistently and to kind of save your bacon at times. Was it a foul? Yeah, obviously. And like I said, the NBA even had to acknowledge, yeah, it was a foul. But overall, they lost the fourth quarter. The Pistons did. They lost the fourth quarter by 8, and Brunson missed a portion. Again, when Brunson or the opposing team's best player is out, you really have to grab a hold of it, and they just did not. And then the other 3-6, which again looks kind of over after today. Lakers versus Timberwolves. LeBron had a masterclass for 3 quarters. 3? Yeah. I'd say the one guy on the Minnesota Timberwolves that I want to prop up more than anybody is how composed Julius Randle has looked. Yeah, Anthony Edwards today was splendid. A beautiful basketball he played today. His highest level in any playoff game this season, at least, I'd say. But Julius Randle has looked very composed for a guy who, man, I watched a lot of those Knicks playoff games with him there. And he has handled it a lot better. He's not forcing the ball. He's not turning it over a ton. What'd he have? He didn't have a turnover today. Like, that's the type of stuff that you see from Julius Randle, and it's like, man, he can do it. He was an all-star, an all-NBA guy, and today was just a prove your worth type of day for Julius Randle. Even though he didn't have the biggest game, he didn't put up 40 like Ant-Man did. Again, he's kept his composure at a time where in years past he has not kept his composure. And even despite all that, the Lakers did have a chance to tie at the end. Austin Reeves got a clean look off. You know what I mean? Although LeBron, hand is part of the ball. I'm not here to argue officiating on that call. But what I will say is he did catch some wrist as well. Wrist is not a part of the ball. But they did have a chance to win it late, and Austin Reeves missed a pretty decent look from the corner to tie it. I think this game, more than anything, though, kind of pointed out the flaw in this Lakers unit that I've kind of been saying since they made the Luka trade. They have no depth. There's nothing there. You know how many bench points they got today? 6. And it was all from Doe, who played 41 minutes. Shout out Dorian Finney-Smith, because he shot 2 for 7, but he hit a big 3 late in that game to help, I think, give them the lead, maybe. And overall, he's played all right this series pretty well. But Jackson Hayes can't play the 5. They've had to roll with LeBron at the 5 a couple of times. They've had to go so small. They've spaced Gobert out of the game, which is good because Rudy Gobert looked awful today, quite frankly. Fumbling the ball on catches underneath the basket. Ugly stuff from Rudy. That's my guy, but he was very bad today, at least on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, he's Rudy Gobert. He's going to stop plays at the rim, blah, blah, blah. But they managed to neutralize Rudy Gobert, but they still can't rebound the ball, and the Timberwolves are just bigger than them. And I've come fully around. This was a series where I picked the Lakers to win it simply because they had the top-line ability. But overall, the Minnesota Timberwolves' depth in their ability to have multiple guys give you 20 points has really come in handy. Naz Reid's had a couple of big games. Jaden McDaniels has had a few beautiful games for Jaden McDaniels recently. Nickeil Alexander-Walker hit some big threes here and there. So Overall, the Timberwolves' depth has bought them a few games at least. Naz Reid having a big game. Dante had a decent game today, it felt like. Shot 3 for 11. I didn't notice. I did notice he had a bunch of steals, though, so that's good. But overall, I felt like the Lakers' top-line unit could win them this series. I'm wrong. I'm not afraid to say it. I was wrong about this. The Timberwolves have looked bigger. They've looked stronger. They've looked more well-rounded. They've looked better. They've looked cleaner than the Lakers have even. And I know Luka's sick, so that might kind of fuel that or might kind of help that. But overall, the Timberwolves have just looked more dominant this series. Sure, they still have to close out. You have to win one game against LeBron and Luka. Two guys that can definitely flip this series on its head like that. But again, with the size that Minnesota's been able to roll out there, and the fact that the Lakers have not been able to match that size at any capacity. Jackson Hayes has looked outmatched at every level. The defenses aren't even respecting Jackson Hayes. He rolls to the rim and they're like, okay, we're still going to send two at Luka. We don't care, So they've just, the Lakers role players, Rui had a good game today, but Rui's been pretty bad in the playoffs. I thought Gabe Vincent might help out and be a playoff riser like he was in Miami. He's kind of there. But overall, the Lakers have no bench, no bigs, no size. And that's losing them this series point blank, pretty simple. And now the 4-5s. Bucks versus Pacers is currently at halftime. And at the time of recording, we just got the news that Dame has a torn Achilles. That is from Chris Haynes himself, the Dame Whisperer, so you know it's true. The series is over now. If you asked me a half hour ago before Dame got hurt, I'd have been like, well, there's still a chance. But I look at this now and I'm like, it's over, bro. Shout out to Bobby Portis on the mic'd up in the first quarter. He did say that his grandfather's in the hospital, so playing through that in a playoff scenario, that's tough, man. And overall, like Bobby Portis is not at a great playoff series, but I can't imagine how you would, especially when your grandfather's in the hospital. Overall, with no Damian Lillard, it's Kevin Porter Jr. as Giannis' second option. Be serious. It's Kevin Porter Jr. Yeah, Gary Trent had a great game 3. A great game 3. Gary Trent Jr. is not going to give you 30-plus 2 more games. He's not going to give you one other game of 30-plus. He bought you a game. What you needed was Giannis and Dame to kind of take over the series after a Gary Trent Jr. great game. Now Dame can't do that. This series, it's cooked, bud. And then the last one is Clippers versus Nuggets, which is not over at all, far from over. My pick was the Clippers, and I'm standing on that. Although yesterday wasn't their cleanest game, they looked not great, and it came down to the literal wire. It came down to Aaron Gordon tip dunk, which is one of the best plays. I mean, I had immediately I had flashbacks to Derek White Game 6 versus Miami in the 23 Eastern Conference Finals. 23? Yeah, I think it was. The one thing that the Nuggets did very well in Game 4 was basically make Chris Dunn a void. They did. Chris Dunn, the first few games of the series, has been able to stay on the court despite very limited offensive impact. But Game 4, he was forced into taking more shots than I believe he's comfortable with, and he shot horribly. They won because they made Chris Dunn play offense. Also, James Harden did not take as many shots as he needs to. I like James Harden a lot, but he needed to be shooting more that game. Norm Powell looked great, but there's no reason why. I think Zubats had more shot attempts than Harden did. I can't rock with that. As much as I love Big Zoo, and he's been having a spectacular series, I need James Harden to be a little bit more aggressive. I still think the Clippers can win this series. I think that the Nuggets are too thin. The first player off their bench yesterday was Vlatko Čančar, and that's an interesting rotation for Coach Adelman. But obviously you see like Michael Porter Jr., he's hurting. He's not feeling great. His shoulder's not, I don't know what the official injury diagnosis is, but his shoulder is clearly not okay. But he's still having to play 40 minutes a game. That puts them in a very tough spot. But overall, I still think that the Clippers have the better team. The Nuggets have the best player in the world, and I'm not going to sit here and try and, debate that part. But the Clippers team is better. The Clippers were able to reach into their bag yesterday and pull out Bogdan Bogdanović, who, let me be frank when I say this, he played a great game yesterday. But brother, if you want to watch the game, if you want to watch the action of the game, pay for a ticket. Maybe pay for YouTube TV. Buy some cable. Because on that last play, Jokic fading away, you got to go to the glass. Like, he has to be able to, Bogdan has to crash there. And if you go watch that replay of the Aaron Gordon tip dunk, there's two guys on Jokic, which means somebody has to rotate down low. And Bogdan did not do that. Bogdan did not crash the glass there. He was standing at the three-point line just vibing. He passed the vibe check, that's for sure. But he needs to be able to get his ass down there and go at least get a hand on the damn ball when it's coming down. Because if somebody tips that, if that rebound gets tipped into the air, the game is over. And they failed to do that. So it leaves the door open for a team like Denver, who I believe could still win this damn series. Even though I picked the Clippers and I said that I'm still rocking with the Clippers. I'm not flipping picks now. That's dumb. I still think I'm still rocking with the Clippers. I still think that there's a way for them to win this series, and it starts, in my opinion, with James Harden just being more aggressive. But at this point, am I willing to call this series over as aforementioned, as I said before? No, not over. Not willing to say that, not even close to over. Oh my God, Miles Turner. Oh my God, Miles Turner just yammed on Giannis. Oh, that's a bad look. Clippers versus Nuggets, not even close to over. These teams are, the margin for error in this series is razor thin. To the point where neither team can really even afford like a turnover in the second half at this point. You know, margin for error is so thin in this series, and you have three of the best players to touch a court, whether you like it, don't like it, whatever. Jokic is the best player on earth right now. Kawhi Leonard is one of the best players of the last couple of decades, and James Harden has stamped himself as a top 5 shooting guard of all time. This is high-level basketball we're getting to watch in this series, and I'm so happy for it. Kawhi Leonard has been healthy, and he's been moving well. He's scoring the ball well. He's defending all right. You know, he didn't have a great game in Game 4, all things considered. It was a good game. But overall, this is high-level basketball, and this is the most fun series. This is the most fun I've had watching a playoff series in a while. Even more than I watched my own damn team win a championship last year, and I'm having more fun watching this series than I did all of last year watching the Celtics win a title. Overall, thank you guys for joining me. If you have liked this video, like the video. Subscribe too while you're here. I do some NBA. I do my NBA coverage every once in a while. I do my rounds. I might make another playoff video after recording this. I have an idea batting around in my mind. You'll see it down the line maybe. Like, subscribe. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to go catch the game. I'll see you guys in the next one.